Hello and welcome back, friends, to another exciting day in Empires and Puzzles. And this time around, we have ourselves a brand new portal. The Ninja Tower has returned. Look at all these ninjas. Yes, these are the old ninjas. Don't worry, there are some new ones hiding in here, including a 3 and 4 star. But then we do have our brand new featured 5 stars. So I will go ahead and review each of these 5 stars in their own video. So let's go ahead and start at the top. So first things first, we get Asakura Masao. Yeah. All right, cool. This guy is definitely looking very samurai-ish. I don't know if he looks so ninja. Let's see what the family bonus is going. Oh, the Ronin family. Okay. So that does make me think samurai instead. Now I'm a little bit curious about these ninjas because in reality, I was half expecting them to move away from the tiered special cycle like they did with the Magic Carpet family, but it does not appear that they did that. By scrolling down here, I can see that there are still 3 tiers to these. I want to start things out by saying, like, that's a little bit disappointing because I feel like these tiered specials are not ideal for defense. So it seems like this family is going to continue, or at least this tower is going to continue to be offensive-minded heroes, so just keep that in mind. But let's take a look at what we get out of here. First of all, we are the Paladin class, so we have that chance for extra armor whenever they are hit. Sorry about that. The Ronin family is going to have a bonus for 1, 2, or 3 heroes. This character has 30, 50, or 70% extra chance to bypass defensive buffs with their attack. If any defensive buffs are bypassed, this character's mana is increased by 5%. Okay, well, that's kind of cool. So they are bypassing defensive buffs fairly often, and when they do, they are going to be getting 5% mana. Though, obviously, this jumps up with quite a few different Ronin families, so 30% base, I guess, is not really that high. That's like a 1 in 3 chance, right? Then with 2, you get a 50-50 chance, and then with 3, you get 70% chance. But having 3 new heroes is probably not realistic for a little while, especially considering they only released 2 5 stars currently. So even if you do happen to pull both of them, you can't possibly max out this family bonus yet with 5 stars. Okay. Down here in the passes department, we are going to get Prevent Boosted Healing. Enemies' health cannot increase above their max health. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So that clearly is letting you know that these guys are designed to fight some of these massive boosted health healers that have been hitting the scene recently. As long as you have a ninja, it says you cannot get boosted health at all. Or not a ninja, a Ronin, I suppose. I mean, that's kind of insane. I was maybe expecting them to cut the boosted health in half or something like that, but just period, you cannot get any. So clearly, if they're focused on a boosted health healing team and you bring these guys, they are direct counters. You're going to cut out their healing and make their healer significantly less impressive. So interesting, right? Okay. Down here in the second passive, we have Dishonorable Defeat. When this character is defeated by a special skill, they perform the following actions. The attacker receives 400% damage. The attacker receives 1,200 bleed damage over 3 turns. Okay, so when these guys get killed, I guess they leave like a death mark on their opposing killer. I mean, it's just, that's interesting. Kind of like a way to make sure that you have a lasting effect even after death. I don't hate it. But what I understand about Ronins is that they would commit like seppuku, that if they did something dishonorable, they'd take their own life. This is weird because it seems like they're doing damage to the person who took their life. I don't know if that quite fits the theme, but I get the concept, right? Okay, moving on. We get an Aether power here of damage reduction. So for the first 6 turns, we're going to get negative 10% damage taken. That's helpful, makes them a little tankier. Down here in our specials department, we are going to get a 2-sword technique. This is going to have different tiers, of course. So our first tier, which will be operating quite quickly, says deals 250% damage to the target. The attack chains through enemies who are adjacent to the hit enemy, and it growths the caster with 100 attack and defense. Okay. Second tier says it's going to deal 400% damage to the target. The attack chains through enemies who are adjacent to any hit enemy, and then it says growth. The caster and nearby allies get 250 attack and defense. Okay, so the growth is expanding as this character grows up in tiers. So the original is just growth to him. The second tier is growth to nearby allies. We can assume the final tier is probably growth to all, but let's get there. Deals 600% damage to the target. The attack chains through all enemies who are adjacent to any hit enemy, and all allies get 600 attack and 600 defense. Okay, so obviously this final tier is bananas. With 600 attack and defense growth to your entire team. Wow. I mean, that's a lot of stats, right? That's 1,200 stats that you're putting out across attack and defense off a single special cast. Now, granted, this is going to operate fairly slowly. It is the third tier, but that is one heck of a lot of growth. Plus, you're dealing that 600 damage, which is hitting all the adjacent enemies. Oh, gosh. I mean, that's just... I don't know. I mean, this character is interesting, though I don't know if I would say it's overpowered. It's just interesting. First of all, one, the passives are very useful, right? So let's do the pros and cons. We're going to get a very nice passive package that's stopping boosted health healing entirely. So you can't raise your max health above your character's max health. So that's interesting. We're also getting that dishonorable defeat, which is weird, but I like it because, it just gives you a way to finish off an opponent who attacked you. Then we've got pretty reasonable hits that do hit multiple targets, although the adjacent thing is still kind of weird. I'd like something that's a little bit more straightforward, because if you kill any of your opposing team and you stop that chain, then this attack does significantly less. So it's kind of hard to know exactly what you're getting out of this, especially on defense, because you don't know who they'll target and who it chains to. So that's kind of not my favorite part of the special, but it's also okay. And then the growth in tiers, right? So I think in reality, you don't gain much potential from using this guy on his first tier. It's a relatively weaker hit, and the growth is only to himself for 100 attack and defense. I think the sweet spot could exist within the second tier if you're looking to maximize his damage potential. Waiting till the end is fine, but the amount of time it takes to get there, I feel like, is dangerous, and your character could die before maximizing his potential. At least at the second tier, you're getting a pretty reasonable hit. You're also going to be growthing the yourself in nearby. So, like, your max potential stat boost on your first tier is 200, right? One character, 100 of each. Your max potential growth on the second tier is going to be 750 attack and defense if all three get growth. So a possible 1,500 additional stats across your team, where here you're only getting 200 on the first tier. Do you see the massive jump there? That's 1,300 additional stats going out by doing the second tier. Now, if you get to the final tier, I mean, look, I just don't know how long it's going to take you to get there. If everybody's still alive, right? You're talking about putting 1,200 stats out on 5 different characters. So we'd be talking about 6,000 stats across your entire team if everyone's still alive. So that's so much. Like, that's so much. Hey, listen, cool, right? I don't know. Like, where do I rate this guy? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to put him in an 8. I think he's powerful. He's definitely above like a standard new release. You can do some interesting things with him. And if you do get his final tier off and you have people alive, like let's say you build a defensive-minded team, right? And you stay alive forever, but you don't have much offensive power. Well, this guy, if you keep him around and alive for long enough, he can turn even like weaker damagers into monsters after he growths everyone like this, right? Think about it like this. In a longer protracted fight, if this guy can go off twice and your team's still alive, then he's going to give them all 1,200 attack and 1,200 defense. So even if you're lower, like let's say your attack stat is 1,400 when you started the fight, well, if you add 1,200 to that, now you're at 2,600. You're a monster. Like, your stats are a monster, and it doesn't even really matter what you do, right? I can see this guy being super fun to stack in teams with like mega minions that also inherit like huge amounts of attack boost from their caster, with this amount of growth, with that multiplier on the Mega Minions, you can start seeing some rather huge Mega Minion hits. Now, there's plenty of Mega Minion counters out there, but I'm just saying that's like one, I think, fun combo you could consider doing. Anyways, we'll just put this guy in an 8, because I don't think he's defensively great at all. In fact, I think he's really subpar on defense. I would not use him there. So he can't go any higher than an 8 for sure. So yeah, if you get him, congratulations. Use him as your anti-boosted health guy. Use him to just have some fun. Like, I think he's a perfectly fine character. So that's what we have to say about this guy. If you do like what we do, there's a little button bottom right. You can click that and you can find me easier in the future. I am on my trek to 1,000 subscribers, which I do plan to hit by the end of the year. I doubt that's going to be very hard, but if you want to be part of my journey, you're welcome to join, and I appreciate you for it. All right, friends, we'll see you next time.